Sorry? Okay, dear colleagues, I think we should start. Probably some people are having break, and that's understandable because it was already a long day. Let me introduce myself. My name is Denis. I work for ASBIS. I'm a technical solution manager. And today I'm gonna tell you a little bit of story about the BlackBerry and what's happening. You might be thinking that BlackBerry belongs to the mobile phones business and it's pretty dead right now, yeah? Let's be honest. Many people are thinking that BlackBerry is not in the business anymore, yeah? But actually in reality, the things are a bit different. So BlackBerry is now all about the software right now. And this is what me and my colleague Cedric gonna tell you about basically. I wanted to make things a little bit interactive. So by that I mean I don't want to have you read some text from the slides. I'm gonna show you some stories, at least as I see them, right? Imagine kind of financial organization, or to put it simple, it's a bank, let's call it like that. Obviously there are some employees in the bank who are working there, and they go on their daily routine to customers, yeah, and they have their devices with them. They communicate with each other, they communicate with the customers, do some software from their devices, I would say. By the way, how many of you have your corporate email on your phone? Yeah, I, for example, have it. Some people do use some corporate software like Salesforce or other CRM systems, yeah. Some people even do have customly developed applications. But how secure is that concept? For example, if I would be sitting, for example, here using this Wi-Fi in this building and checking my corporate mail, how secure would be that? I would be sharing my email and my password, at least until the active sync protocol gets care of it, and it would be unprotected. So this is totally normal situation, and we face it every day. And this is what the most organization, the most enterprise customers, IT resources look like. Some kind of server, some kind of file share server, maybe some background software servers, and so on. And the employees of the organization are constantly using this to get the work done, basically on mobile, yeah? And yeah, also they are constantly arranging some meetings, some calendar actions, and so on, sharing the files. This is how the most enterprise businesses look like right now. But which IT threats this scenario has? This is what is really important, because I want to name a couple of them. Obviously, there are more than 3, 4, which I would highlight in this case. So let's take a look at those examples. If your employee, let's say it has his own smartphone or his own tablet, and he is accessing your corporate resources, reading emails and so on and so on, you want to know obviously what software is installed in that device which has access to your corporate environment. Maybe some unsecured messengers, maybe games, but this is not so important in case of personal devices. Also some torrents is an issue. He can download some unprotected stuff, yeah? And if he installs everything, would that not lead for a virus, for example, yeah? Very simple. So that should go away for now. Right. Then the users tend to root their devices or jailbreak their devices, which also leads to a breach in the security. And those devices shouldn't be allowed to work with your corporate environment. You want to know what's happening. Then, if the device is simply lost, how protected would that be? Would it be passworded or encrypted? You want also to know that. I'm not only talking about the personally owned devices, but also about the corporate owned devices. Yeah, if you as an employee give, if you give to employer some devices, they also need to be under control, obviously. So imagine this is the perfect scenario from IT officer perspective of view. The user is communicating using the SMTP protocol, everything is cool and you can be safe. But as soon as the user gets his hands on the information, he downloads it and he thinks, yeah, for the to do it faster, I would share it via WhatsApp, I would share it via my personal email account, and then the situation looks like more the right part of the screen where the user starts to spread the information if he wants. Yeah, he just can do so, and why not? Which also can possibly lead to some data leakages where the malefactor can get his hands on the information. You want to get rid of that, obviously. So what happens when the BlackBerry software comes into play? Your device is protected by the BlackBerry Unified Endpoint Management, the server is called. It's constantly monitored by specialist software which is installed to the device. And depending on your policy, depending on your needs, you can always see what's happening. You can change policies, you can forbid something, allow something. You can be in control of the device, which is really important and which gives us the protected way of sharing and working mobile. Yeah, what can be done additionally? We've got beautiful applications from BlackBerry, like browsers, like emails and messengers and so on and so on. There are a whole bunch of them. Probably my colleague Cedric would mention that a little bit more. You can always check where the device is located currently, so if it was lost or if it was stolen, something like that. And of course there is such thing called MDM or mobile device management, where you can take control of features of the device. Also very important. So now a little bit more about what BlackBerry is currently doing. So we have created a secure mobile application platform to run your existing business on mobile, because I think you would agree with me that the business has gone mobile. No one is just sitting on his desktop and that's it. Everyone are using different devices, tablets and so on and so on. So this is the concept we have. On the other hand, there is always a compromise between using some applications on mobile devices. They for sure would make your life easier, accessing some information, increasing your productivity and so on. But those applications which can contact your sensitive data are not always checked for security. So with BlackBerry, yeah, you can always be sure that you have not to compromise between those two points. Again, very popular these days, the BYOD, or bring your own device concept, when the employees bring their own handsets to work and use them for work. And this is also secured by BlackBerry. You can be very polite with the way you control the users. They can still have their private space and the workspace. This is really important for many of them. So here is a little bit of ratings. So what can be done? Obviously the list of the possible features is huge and not only is limited by what you can see, but this can give you an idea of how you can affect the device and how you can control it. Yeah, you can forbid different features, you can force the password, you can have device locations report, you can be sure that device is compliant with your policies and so on. At the same time, you can spread the software which you think is necessary for the work. It is not only belonging to the BlackBerry software, but for all the different third-party applications. Yeah? Again, probably you might think he's talking about BlackBerry the whole time. Isn't that supposed to be only for BlackBerry devices? So, well, actually not. We support everything currently, all the modern platforms, including Android, Windows Phone, iOS devices, Windows desktop, and macOS as well. So this is really important, so keep that in mind, please. Now I wanted to show you what's unique about the BlackBerry software. It's the mobile office it has. It's designed specifically to be used on mobile devices, so it would not be some unusable features which you have but don't really use anytime. It is really designed to work on mobile, and my colleague Cedric would show you how it looks like in a couple of minutes. Yeah, all those things are here. It's always easy to add more and more applications in case you would need them. And I'm not talking about the office, I'm talking about some third-party applications. You can have control over that too. And exactly what many customers want to have is that it looks exactly the same on all the platforms. So you would not have to learn it once on Windows, once on Android, once on iOS. It's everywhere the same, and looks the same, feels the same, gives you more confidence while using it. Yeah, probably told you about that. It's already on all the platforms. The BlackBerry EM is supported. So once again, a picture of that. Now I wanted to tell you a bit about the different thing which we also have to offer you, the different product. No, sorry, a bit later. So you might think how the society sees the BlackBerry software, how it is competing against all other companies. You probably know that there is such an analytical agency called Gartner. They're famous for their Magic Quadrant, but also they have such report which is called Critical Capabilities for High Security Mobility Management. And this shows you basically the use cases of different use cases when working on mobile. And in the year 2016, so last year, in September, they released this report, and in all 6 use cases, such as high secure government grade, high secure commercial grade, shared data, BlackBerry took first place compared to other companies. And this is really unique situation because previously that did not happen any time before. So you can see for shared devices, for providing the access to non-employee of the company, and obviously for bringing your own device. BlackBerry is always at the first place. No one can say that he reached that level of trust from the Gartner, at least. And also unique thing about BlackBerry is that when we are talking about the licensing of the product, all the competitors license devices. We license only users, which can have up to 5 devices. And it's also unique because nowadays, how many devices do you have? For example, I have only I think laptop and my handheld phone. Many people have tablets, many people have 2 phones, and this will cover that without any issue. Now to the second product. It's called BlackBerry Workspaces. Probably have heard about it. It was formerly the Watchdogs product. Probably not. Think of that as for secure enterprise Dropbox for files. Let me explain you the main difference. So imagine a Dropbox or the Google Drive where you have downloaded the files or you have shared files with someone. He can do whatever they want with the file. So he can share, send, copy, paste, print, whatever he wants. Our system or Workspaces allows you to have file level encryption. Even when you share the file, you can be still sure that it would be protected. So it would not allow the user to edit it or to print it or to share it with someone. Or for example, you can specify how long would that user have access to that file. Obviously, it works on all the platforms as well. Yeah. Here is again the picture that you can have your files stored at your existing places, on your file shares, on your SharePoint, or in Office 365, or just use the cloud from Workspaces. You have tons of options here, and you can share the files with colleagues, with the third-party companies, and so on. Really handful. And this is a real DRM, which I mean. DRM means digital rights management, thank you. Yeah, exactly. And only by securing the file on the most lower level, you can be sure it's a real DRM. So basically, it's available in the browser, on the devices, on the desktops. You can have access to the files everywhere. You can collaborate on them, and you can be sure they are secure. So this my part of the presentation is over, so I have to switch to Cedric's, and he will continue again. Thank you then for your attention, but we are not ready yet.
Thank you, Denis. So we'll switch to the other set of slides, and I'll start. So I promise you it's going to be short. I'm going to go straight to the point. And I'll have 2 parts in the presentation, a few slides where I want to tell you a little bit about the situation right now of BlackBerry, who we are, who's the new BlackBerry, and then a second part with a little bit of demo on my device so that you can see how it looks on the devices and what you can do with it. Okay, so Denis has mentioned it. BlackBerry is now a software company. We're not into the devices anymore. But most probably you're reading the news every day and you've seen that there's a new device coming from BlackBerry. It has a keyboard and so on. So what am I telling you? BlackBerry is now licensing the devices to other companies. So we have third-party companies. In this case, it's TCL, which is an Indonesian company, who's building the devices according to their specifications and our specifications, and they are releasing it to the market. But everything that is connected to the financials part of the story is actually being dealt by the third party. So BlackBerry is actively selling only software in the security space, and we are not reporting any sales in terms of devices anymore. We are not now reporting any sales in terms of licenses fees as we had them with carriers and so on. So it's a very significant change. And if you think about it a few minutes, how many companies were doing only hardware and have successfully converted into doing software? Very few. So it's a very difficult transition, and I believe that BlackBerry is achieving it quite successfully. If you look at the last 4 years, BlackBerry hasn't lost money for more than 4 years. All right? So it's very viable company. We have more than $2 billion in cash. We're very much alive, and we've done quite a few acquisitions over the last 2 years in this idea of moving to software with a focus on security. So what do we secure? We secure devices, we secure files, information, and we secure as well people. You will see through some of the solutions that we have here. So back in 2014, we've acquired a solution. It's a German solution. It's called SecuSmart. And we still have it. Everything that you see here, we have it in our portfolio, sometimes with a new name, but it's still there, and it is part of the portfolio that we're capable of bringing to the customer nowadays. So this is a secure communication solution. Basically, it's encrypted calls end-to-end from any device, Android, iOS, and so on. We have one big reference with SecuSmart. It is Angela Merkel, obviously in Germany, when she found out that she was being listened to from the US, she acquired SecuSmart, and she's now using it on a daily basis. Okay. Then in 2007 and 14 as well, in September, we've acquired Movivirtu, which is a solution a little bit more directed to carriers that enables to have multiple phone numbers on the same SIM. I'll skip this one because it's really a solution specific to the carriers. Watchdogs is what Denis was introducing you a few minutes ago. It was an Israeli-based company doing enterprise file sync and share, and it's now called BlackBerry Workspace. Okay, so sharing files in a secure way between people and assets. In 2015, we've acquired Haddock. This is a crisis communication solution. So you have you're a large enterprise customer or maybe a smaller customer, and there is a disaster happening on site. You have a fire, you have a terrorist attack. It's sad, but it's happening a lot lately. And you need to communicate very quickly to all of your people in that building. How do you do it? Well, Haddock is there for this. You can push emails to your people, you can call them, you can send them push notifications on their mobile. All of these can be managed in a very simple way. And you can also receive feedback from the people that can tell you they are safe or they need help or whatever. So Haddock is being used by very large enterprise customers. Microsoft, Apple are actually some of the companies that are using Haddock for their internal use. because they need to be able to communicate to their people in an efficient way. In France, it's also, unfortunately, and I'm from there, booming because of the terrorism that is happening there. Companies need to make sure that they can contact their resources very quickly. In 2015, in the middle of the boom of the mobility and the enterprise mobility management, MDM, and so on, we've acquired Good Technology. So Good Technology was part of the Magic Quadrant for MDM, and then it converted it into EMM, so management of the device and enterprise mobility, but basically it's the same story. And we've acquired one of the latter because we understood that we were a little bit limited with the solutions that we had at the time. We were very focused on BlackBerry devices only, and we were very focused on mobility management and not so much the application management, sharing information, documents, and so on. So by acquiring Good, that was extremely good at managing applications and documents and so on, we've completed the solution, and it's now called the BlackBerry EMM solution that Denis was actually introducing to you. And we've also acquired a London-based company called Encryption. They do friendly hacking, so they're specialized in security, and they can go with the professional services into companies and make sure that they have a secure system. So that's the overall portfolio. Very quickly here, the idea is to understand that we have a very large portfolio using one of our strengths, which is our global NOC. So you know that one of the strengths that BlackBerry always had was the security, its NOC. People were really trusting, and they are still trusting BlackBerry for that. So we still use this across our solutions. And then obviously we address all types of platforms. This is the news, and most of the customers nowadays, unfortunately, they still don't understand this. For us, BlackBerry devices do not exist anymore. They exist, but they are running Android, and they have a security layer from BlackBerry, but they are just another device. We work on iOS, we work on Windows phones, we work on macOS, we work on Windows operating system. So for us, it's the endpoint, and it's not a device specifically anymore. Okay. This is a little bit of data. We all know that there is a huge growth of the mobility into the companies. There's more and more bring your own device, especially in Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, where the companies are a little bit more sensitive to the cost of the devices. Most of the time they allow people to bring their phone into the company, so you need to make sure that those phones are properly secured in order to provide the level of service that the people are looking at. Okay? There's more and more attacks. You have to keep in mind that a mobile phone has everything in order to be hacked and to get very interesting information. You have a GPS that will tell the people where you are. You have a microphone that can be listening to you. You have your agenda. There's been applications that have been specially triggering the microphone only when you were in a meeting in your agenda. Okay? So every time that people are installing an application, maybe they go to an event and there is an application to manage their calendar, their meetings and so on, there is a risk, and you need to make sure that you have a platform that basically isolate all of the information from the end user that we cannot access. With a phone secured by BlackBerry, I cannot look into the WhatsApp, the Facebook, the pictures of the user. That's not possible, right? But yes, I can control any information that belongs to the company, the email, the calendar, the contacts, and so on. I can control it, and I can delete it if there is any security breach on the device. So that's the BlackBerry UEM that I will show you in a few seconds on my device, compatible with all types of operating systems and addressing all types of devices, okay? So nowadays, obviously, it's mostly tablets, phones, computers, but we're extending the solutions to to the enterprise of things. There's a lot of hype about it, but connected glasses and so on are more and more present in the enterprise, and we are addressing those as well. Okay, this is by the way, a short example of what we can do on Mac OS. So you can have your own personal Mac, and you will have an application that will access all of the corporate enterprise information, and everything is secured there. It's encrypted. You need an extra password to access this information, and if your employee leaves the company, or if he's losing his device, you'll have the ability to actually remotely delete everything. And the user experience is the same across all of the devices. This is one of the specificity of the BlackBerry solution, because now we are agnostic. Now we don't have BlackBerry devices running the BlackBerry operating system anymore. We can make sure that using the solution on iOS, on Android, or on a Samsung Knox is the exact same experience. Okay? When we say we're compatible with everything, it's not like it works very, very well with BlackBerry device and then it's okay with the other ones. No. I mean, EMM APIs that have been, introduced by iOS and then later on by Android, by Google with Android for Work and so on, are only, they are managed by the developer of the platform. So iOS is extremely advanced because there's a lot of APIs and the platform is very secured. So it's probably where you will get the best experience. Then Android also. Now with Android for Work, the experience is extremely good, and you can do lots and lots of things with Android. It was not the case just a couple of years ago. Samsung Knox, it's the same. All of these are getting improved, and obviously the mobility platform is improving with those operating systems. It's a lot of work to have a focus on, and you will see in the next Magic Quadrant that will be published at the very beginning of June, the Enterprise Mobility Management. You will see all of the vendors there. You will see the leaders. You will see that most probably we will have a very good positioning there again. But it's a lot of work because it's 3 different platforms mostly, okay? And every 3 months you have a major announcement from one of these guys, Apple, Android, new version. Yesterday it was Android presenting their new OS. You need to make sure you're always up to date on this platform. So it's a lot of work. BlackBerry Dynamics, I'm skipping this one because you will see it in the demo, but it's basically the set of enterprise applications that are provided within the BlackBerry solution. So it's not only controlling the device. People are always a little bit scared about that notion, oh, they're going to control my device. No, we're going to bring value to the end user. We're going to allow them to access their file, work in a better way, have something that is centralized. All of this is very important. We also have the ability to access this information through a simple browser. So you see here we're running Chrome, and you can see your calendar, you can see your email, you can see everything that you would see on a mobile device, and again with the same user interface and experience that you would have on your corporate machine. Okay. Then we have, this is more related to the product, the licenses and so on. But we obviously have different versions of the software, of the solution, that will accompany the user in the way they manage their mobility. So at the beginning of their lifetime, they might be protecting the device, enabling email, and that's it. And later on, most probably they will develop applications specifically for their business, and we can actually help the customers to go through all of those steps. They will go through collaborations, modifying the existing processes, and then creating new ones. Okay. When you see a company that used to sign contracts manually, sending them back to the office, and now they've completely moved to the mobile devices, taking pictures of the ID cards, signing contracts on the devices. This is what I mean by the transformation of their business. And this is not only device management, it's device management and all the mobility that goes with it. Okay, so we have different SKUs and different pricing depending on how much they want to use. This is the ad hoc solution. So how do we work with our end users? BlackBerry is selling completely indirectly, so this is why we are presenting today with ASBIS. ASBIS is the appointed distributor for all the Eastern Europe region, and ASBIS is obviously working, they're not selling directly to the end user, they're working with resellers, so people that have expertise in the mobility business, that know what they do, that have a customer portfolio and so on, and they are acquiring the solution from ASBIS and reselling it to the end user. So BlackBerry is never selling the software to the end user. We don't want to have this relationship with the end user. We want to make sure that here in Hungary, people are actually being provided with services from local companies, which are going to be better than me here in a small office helping local people, obviously. So let me drive you through the last minutes of the presentation with the demo. Okay. So I'll run the demo on an Apple iPad. By the way, this is my own device. So that's already a specificity. This is not a device that is provided to me by BlackBerry, by the company. So you can see a little bit what it means to have a device that is secured, but not necessarily managed. Okay. We're just activating the sharing of the screen. Just a second. This is one of the specificity of the BlackBerry solution. We are able to secure devices and data without having an MDM profile on the devices. This is important to some of the low regulations. When you want to install something that is controlling the device of your employees' mobile devices, and they own the devices, sometimes it's a little bit of an issue. So in this case, in this device, my phone is actually set up the other way. I have a full MDM profile on my phone from BlackBerry. But on my device here, on my tablet, it's actually only securing the enterprise information that I have on the device. No, of course, if I don't start the AirPlay. Cool. So if I go here in my, and this is where you usually see the management of a device. So if you're not sure if your device is managed by your company and so on, usually you can go here to your general settings, and here you will see administration or management. So here you see my device is actually not managed by BlackBerry. The only thing they can do is delete the corporate information from the devices, but they cannot access any of my information. Okay. So here on my main screen, I have the icon for BlackBerry Work, and I have a set of direct access to some of the corporate applications that are managed here. So if I start BlackBerry Work here, it's already authenticated, already protected with my fingerprint, so I didn't have to use to do it again. I have here my email. It's a much better experience than the native email from iOS. I have a lot more things that I can do here that I would do in the typical one. So if I click on Denis' email here, I can see his profile. Obviously, he's not on my Active Directory, so it's limited. I could see his team members, and I could see also the history of email that we have exchanged together and so on. I can see here that he sent me an email. I can click here on the attachments. I can see that he sent me an Excel file, a PDF. If I click on the PDF, it will download it. I can visualize the PDF, straight from my browser. I can also save it locally to my device. You see, save to docs. And this is going to save to the local docs. And here I could save it. Replace, because I already had a copy of it, and that's it. I can go back to my email, check the Excel file as well. You see, I have access to quite a complex Excel file. I have my tabs. I can access anything I want from there. I can actually edit it. We have an editor that is actually open. Here, the open-in is going to be secured. So you see, I can open in some of the applications. Here, we have quite a lot of flexibility at BlackBerry, but you could lock out all of the applications and force the user to only check the file in the email, for example, if you want to make sure they are not exporting to Dropbox and so on. And you see here all of the applications that I can share the document with. Okay. You see here I have the blue button here. This is completely customizable. Okay, you have a customer that is a company like Coca-Cola, and they use red and white. You can modify the whole interface. You can put the Coca-Cola logo here instead of the BlackBerry that you see here. If I click on it, I have access to all of the corporate information that I was talking to you about. And I have this experience that is much better than the iOS native email. You see, I have calendar, which is already quite complicated on iOS. Okay, I can see when people are free, when they are available. I can propose another time. Things that you cannot do usually. You see here you see here I can require people. I can put them as optional resources and so on. Things that you cannot do usually with the native email. I can go to my contacts as well. Okay, I can go to my documents. These are the documents that I saved earlier, and I can actually access it directly from here as well. I can go to BlackBerry Access. BlackBerry Access, you see it's checking the authorization first. BlackBerry Access is a secure browser. So here I'm accessing the internal BlackBerry network without any VPN, without any password. I don't have to input anything. I am in a full-fledged browser. I can open another tab. I can go to Google. I can do whatever I want. But I have a direct access to any resources within BlackBerry. Again, in a secure way. And that's also valid when I'm using the same application on my MacBook or on my Windows device. I have the same interface. I can go to the secure browser and I can access my internal resources from any device. I have an app store as well, where I can see all of the recommended applications from my company. You see, if I want to have better control of my Office documents, I could install Polaris on my device and edit the documents directly from there. And then finally, this is the UEM, this is the client. So this is basically what you will download from the App Store. The UEM, you can have it in different ways to the device, but one of the most typical way would be to go to the Apple App Store. You search for BlackBerry UEM here. BlackBerry UEM client, and you see this is an application that is available to anyone. Obviously, you need the backend, you need the server in order to talk to everything else, but this is the only application that you will install, and then this application will actually deploy all of the other applications that you've seen here before, because they are deployed by the platform themselves. Okay, and then finally, still here from my work interface, if I click on this button, I have my workspace. So this enterprise file and share document. Let me reopen it. So this is my workspace, so I can actually, access CIFS, SharePoints, all of those corporate resources. I can access those, and I can, if I need some documents, I need to send it, I need to access it, to check it on the go. I can do that very, very easily. I can share those with limited times. I can share them for a week. I can share them only on screen. I can allow people to sprint. I can, there's a lot of, it's very granular in what kind of access you are allowing people to get to on their devices. So that's it for the presentation. Just a quick reminder, BlackBerry is not selling to the end user, so we are very much leveraging on ASBIS and our network of partners that at the moment in Hungary are still limited. So we have a few partners, we have a few here in the room that are historically the guys that have been pushing BlackBerry since the beginning here in Hungary, sorry. But we work very much, and we are looking at developing this partner base to make sure that we reach the right customers with the solution. Any question, any doubts, any?
I wanted to say that we would be here for the rest of the day, so in case of any questions, feel free to contact us directly. We're here for that, exactly.
Yeah, we'll be here, and even in the evening for the ones of you that will be there, feel free to talk to us if you're interested in pushing the solutions.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.